What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey, and The Walking Dead is back. Yay, yay, yay. We are discussing episode 9, season 11B. We are in the middle of this final season, and when I tell you, baby, they came back hard and strong from jump. This episode was so good in so many ways. Oh, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for us to talk about it. I can't wait for us to talk about it.
But you know, the sad part is getting this good and it's about to go off. Where was this in season 8 and 9?
You know what? I've seen people complaining about the later seasons, and I've actually enjoyed the later seasons.
I still enjoy them, but still, the way that they pack him in the action and everything.
You know what? At least they're not doing and pulling the Game of Thrones on us. So I'll be happy with that. If they want to come in the last few episodes and be real strong, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm still gonna watch. I'm still
right
gonna wait for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know. But okay, let's get into it. No Other Way is the title of this episode. Whew. So we pick up where we left off with episode 8, right before the hiatus. They are in Meridian. This is right after Leah has killed Pope and put the blame on Daryl. They let loose. I can't even remember what the name of that little weapon is, but it's the weapon that's got all the Hawacha, yes. And it's got all the fireworks and it's shooting into the walkers. So that is literally where we start. Like the opening shot is of a firework soaring into the body of a walker and exploding. I'm gonna tell you one thing about this episode. I was watching with my hands over my eyes like this for most of it, even though I know, girl, because I was like, oh my God. Even though I know they're going to survive, we already know that Maggie survives. We know Aaron survives and the kids survive, but still just having to sit through all of this, like with all the fireworks going into the walkers, the fight scenes in Meridian were brutal as fuck. They were brutal. I'm surprised Maggie isn't walking around with a broken jaw right now, because the way Carver decked her, I thought her face was broken.
He fought her like she was a grown-ass man.
Girl, I thought her face was broke. The way he hit her. But anyway, so they're dipping and dodging these fireworks. One of the guys from the Reavers, he actually finds himself in the same boxcar with Maggie, and they get into this fight. Now he is like picking her up, slamming her on the wall. She is fighting. Now, one thing I will say, Maggie has obviously gotten better at fighting while she's been away from the group, because she is holding her own against these really big, really brutal guys, you know?
Yeah.
But she does the classic knee him in the nuts and it throws him off guard, and she's able to get him out of the train car. And then of course one of the explosives gets into him and explodes, and she runs. She's able to meet up with Negan and Elijah, and you know, they set a trap for Carver, which I thought was funny, because Maggie's sitting here running away from him, and he's coming down the hall, and she's like trying to go through these doors, and all the doors are locked. And I was just looking like, Maggie, what are you doing? Because I knew she wasn't running from him for real. Right. And then when you see Elijah come out and you see Negan come out from behind Carver, I was like, oh, they really about to whoop his ass.
Psych. You got to remember, he a mercenary.
I know.
You have to remember that. He's not going for the okie dokie, because he was like, oh, 3 of y'all, oh, this is nothing.
But
he proved that.
He did. He did. But I will say this too. You know, Negan has been on this little redemption arc trying to be a different person, trying to get back to, I guess, a little bit of the person he was before the zombie apocalypse happened and all this other shit or whatever, trying to atone whatever he's thinking in his mind. I gotta say, for this fight scene, we really needed that old Negan because he was getting his ass whooped.
Even when he was down on the ground, he was kind of like, well, shit.
Right. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. And when he came out of that room with the metal pipe, that was the one time I wished I looked at the screen and I said, he needs to have Lucille with him. I was like, oh no, I'm not going down that road.
That good.
But Carver, okay, so at least now we figured out who Elijah was talking about when he was like, but the one guy, he's mine. He was talking about Carver because Carver was the one who killed his sister. But Elijah, baby, you ain't even at 100%.
That part.
And I think it kind of made me mad a little bit because when we're first introduced to him, he came on the scene like he was supposed to be like this really, really badass. Like, what? And he's
10 seconds later, you got your ass whooped.
And I mean, I understand he got, what was it? Did he get shot or, oh no, the explosive. He got shrapnel in his leg and that's why he's hurt. So I understand that. But my thing is, why bring him in such a powerful way just to make him hurt and then not able to do anything? It just...
Because everybody else on here have worked through the pain to get the job done. You need somebody to carry you. You can't walk by yourself.
And I mean, he held his own for what little that was worth with this scene, because I'm sorry, fighting Carver, you have to be at 100%. And none of them are at 100% because one, they're all starving. They're still starving. So they're still weakened. They've been traveling for who knows how long. They've lost people. At this point, I'm sure they are just bone tired. And then you have to fight for your life to get out of here. Like, I'm sorry. I was kind of sort of with Negan, like, look, we just need to grab the shit and go home.
Right.
We don't need to be fighting nobody. But I think it's interesting. And I know, you see the commentary on Twitter and social media about how it seems like they're making Maggie the villain and they're making Negan supposedly like the good guy or the better guy. And I can kind of sort of see where that's coming in, but I think it's interesting as well too, because again, we all hate Negan because of what he did to someone in our group that we loved. Mm-hmm. Everybody's saying, oh, Negan is bad, he's unredeemable, whatever. And I think the interesting thing about the story that they're telling this season is that we can see how that happens to a person. I've been thinking about this a lot in the last couple of weeks, just, interacting with people on Twitter, seeing people comment about different things, and just thinking about the show in general and how it's evolved, and, thinking back on some of the characters, especially since, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, there is a Walking Dead convention coming up in Atlanta next month that I have decided I'm going to, and they've got a lot of good cast members, past and present, coming, to the con. So I'm sitting here thinking about all these characters that they've played. You've got you've got the governor coming, and I was just thinking, when you look back at those earlier seasons and some of the villains, all of them didn't start out as bad people, And we said this before talking about the show. Negan didn't start out as a bad person. A shitty person, yes. An asshole, yes. But he was not an inherently evil person.
Right.
And
but we always also said, too, had we met Negan's group first, we would have thought Rickman was the bad guy.
Right, exactly. So I think it's interesting that they're taking us on this journey with Maggie, and not just Maggie, but we even see it with Gabriel. And Gabriel's a little bit different because when we met him, he was sketchy. And then we found out what he did to his congregation. And then we've kind of seen his redemption arc. So it's interesting watching the journey of these two characters. Do I think Maggie is evil? No, not at all. But looking at what she's had to do and the decisions that she's making now, and knowing that she's only making these decisions because she needs to survive, she needs to get back to her son, and her main priority is to get food to the people back home so that they all survive. You know, I don't look at her actions as evil. She's doing what is necessary. And if we look at her in that same sense, we have to look at Negan in the same way too. Negan really was doing what he thought he needed to do to have all of those hundreds or thousands of people that were with him to survive.
Right.
Now, we happen to catch him in a bad time because, again, he's trying to avenge people that our group killed unprovoked. If you really think about it, our group killed his people unprovoked. They were doing a favor for Gregory and the Hilltop. Right. Because at that point, they didn't know anything about Negan's group, the Saviors, except for Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl, who met them in a whole other part of town on a separate mission.
Right.
So I was just sitting here looking at what transpired in this episode as far as, you know, Maggie wanting to kill Carver and then Daryl stopping her, and then them having to go through what they went through trying to negotiate with Leah, because Leah is at this point, she's like, no, they're not killing any more of our family. We're going to kill them all. Now, Leah, I feel like that's an ungrateful bitch, because at any point in time, Daryl could have gotten on those walkie-talkies and he could have told them Leah was the one who killed Pope.
And I thought even told. I thought he was. I honestly thought. I said, he gonna tell it. He is gonna tell it. He didn't tell it.
You know what? I never thought that he was gonna tell it, because I felt like
he's still trying to protect her in the end.
I think that too, but also Daryl is not. What we see about Daryl in this episode is Daryl is really thinking long and hard about everything that they're doing. He's like, we're doing this all wrong. What, we survived all of this just to keep killing each other? What's the point? You know, and I think Daryl doesn't want to be the one always killing folks, always having to kill to survive, having to kill to, you know, protect the people he loves. Nobody wants that. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to be a killer. Well, some people do, but I don't think anybody in our group, that's not their life's purpose, their main goal. They do it because they have to. And for Leah to betray Daryl in the way that she did that out of hurt. Yes, I understand, because Daryl lied to her about Maggie and the group. But still, I think for him, it was one of those things where, okay, you know what? You did what you did out of desperation. Let me get you a way out of it. Let me give you a way to save what's remaining of your people. Because at this point, she only had 4 people left. She only had 3 people left. The 2 who were down in the courtyard with her and the 1 person that was on the roof. She didn't have anybody else because they had pretty much killed everybody else.
Right.
He was giving her an out. Like, hey, you know what? I'm going to let you walk away with your people. You go save your family. Let me save mine. Let's just squash this, call it even, and go. All she had to do was say yes and walk away. But she wanted to try to force their hand with her little person on the roof. And then he got by Gabriel. And we'll talk about Gabriel in a little bit. And then she going to have the nerve to say, is that offer still standing? No, bitch, that's not his word.
You said to tell you what is on the table.
Like what? Like, we tried to give you an out.
My bad. I was just playing.
Like, we tried to give you an out, and you threatened us.
You thought you was a badass. You thought you had a motherfucker on the roof.
You threatened us. And now we're supposed to still offer you this? Like Maggie said, you would have killed us. You would have killed us and gone about your business and not thought anything of it. That's what y'all been doing. Speaking of which, before we move further into that, I have a question. So Leah and Daryl had a conversation a couple of episodes ago when she was talking about how they took Meridian. You know, when Daryl was asking her about how they came to be there, and she told them, you know, we needed a place to stay. It was here. We took it. And Daryl was like, so y'all just forced the people who were here out? And she was like, we had a community to take care of, you know, blah, blah, blah. So where's the rest of this community? Because if they took over Meridian for all of these people, you know, we had families. I haven't seen not now other woman. I haven't seen any children. I haven't seen anybody who looked like they needed taken care of. So you just forced a whole bunch of people, men, women, children, out of their home, not even forced. You killed the ones that you could get to in there. And the ones who happened to escape just happened to be the ones that you should have killed, because those were the ones who ended up being, you know, the means to your end. But where's this community she was speaking of? Well, y'all going around killing folks.
Remember she kept saying how the Reapers would come in, destroy whole towns, kill everybody there.
Yeah, but the Reapers were doing that because Leah said they had a community that they needed to protect, that they needed to take care of. Where is that community? Because think about it, nobody else is there in Meridian. We haven't seen anybody else in Meridian but the soldiers, but Pope's soldiers.
No, they killed them and strung them all up.
Those were the Meridian people. I'm saying Leah said that the Reavers, they had their own community, families, right. Families that they had to take care of.
I don't think it was that many. Because remember, remember when she first got with Daryl and she was like, she was with her people and a herd came through and wiped out a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And that's how she lost her son. So they lost some there. And I'm sure the same way they came across Maggie's, you know, the survivors and lost some people that way too. So I'm sure
but even all though the people
taking over groups, you know, every time you're taking over a group, there's no guarantee you getting out with everybody unscathed. You may lose one. Because even the night they were sitting around the fire, it wasn't but about 10 or 15 of them.
But that's what I'm saying though. Leah is the only woman and there's no children. So where are these so-called families that you were going out killing other people for, so that they can have a place to stay, so that they can have food to eat? It just, you know, there's something I read in an article about Norman Reedus saying that he wished that they had had more time to explore that whole storyline because he feels like it was rushed. I'm starting to feel that way as well. Like, I didn't have a problem with them introducing Leah. I didn't have a problem with them introducing another love interest for Daryl, because as much as people want to focus on the core group, the world is bigger than that, even in a zombie apocalypse. There has to be other people that we find out about that have a role to play in the overall story. So I've never had a problem with them introducing new characters or even focusing on the newer characters. That's never been an issue. But I do feel like in them trying to introduce this kind of conundrum for Daryl, like, okay, he met this person that he cares about, but now he has to make a choice between her and his family. And it's like, I just feel like they left some stuff out, or they put some stuff in and then didn't have time to follow up on it. Right. Because I'm like, y'all did all this killing for what? Y'all literally displaced whole families, whole communities. If it wasn't but 20, 30 of y'all could have been like, yo, we need some shelter. The people of Meridian probably would have been like, they're soldiers. They can help protect us. Brought them in.
Unfortunately, nobody thinks like that, because think back to the beginning. Even when the survivors got to Alexandria, remember Rick was like, how many of you people do I have to kill? Kill? You coming in ready to, because you want to make sure it's safe for your son and your daughter.
Right.
So everybody has that mentality where I don't know if I can trust these people. I don't know what they gonna do. I don't know, ulterior motives, whatever. Because hell, look at Terminus. They got posters everywhere, sirens going off. Arrive, stay alive. What? Stay alive long enough for you to fatten me up so you can eat me.
But even with Terminus, that started out as their purpose. Like they really did start out wanting to help people. It just happened to be that they took in one group who was like, yeah, we're finna take all this from y'all. Like the world is big enough now, like literally a majority of the population is gone. Just like everybody else cleared out, y'all can clear out and y'all can go live your merry little lives and figure this shit out. But of course you can't do that because human nature. People are going to be assholes. People are always going to try to take something that doesn't belong to them or something that they didn't earn, or it's just, shitty humanity. But, Leah should have taken the offer and she should have got the hell on with her 3 little people. But because she didn't.
And you thought you had the upper hand.
She fucked up.
But he said, you don't fucked up, right?
Right. Because
you don't fucked up, right? Yeah, she fucked up big time.
And here's the thing. So once she shows her quote unquote upper hand and they have to untie Carver and let him go, Carver should have kept his mouth shut. He should have kept his mouth shut, but he had to go and be an asshole and brag. Okay, this is the thing. He had to go and brag to Elijah, not necessarily brag like, I killed your sister. Oh yeah, what was her name? Like, just like digging that knife in a little deeper. Isaiah should have said it. Elijah should have sat his ass down because he already can't walk. But of course he has to like try and stand up for his sister in her honor. I understand that.
I looked at him like, you don't get your ass up.
But that's okay because Elijah got what he needed, He
did.
Because I forgot what happened. So when they still thought they had Jensen on the rooftop, Gabriel kind of let them know, yeah, no, Jensen's not here anymore. He's already taken over. He's got the rifle. And then that's when Leah pulls the hoe. Is that offer still on the table? Bitch, if you don't get your ass down the street, just go. Go. And then Elijah tells Maggie, he's like, no, because he was adamant. Carver has to die. They killed our people. They killed my sister. And what did he say? For Josephine, for them all. Girl, when I tell you when Maggie got up, reached for that gun in her back and started aiming, I said, oh, shit's about to get real.
Super real.
Let me tell you.
Maggie turned that corner. Yeah, go on, run, bitch.
Maggie shoots one of the guys, shoots the second one. The second one, she actually manages to shoot him in the head on the first shot. Leah takes off. She shoots Leah in the shoulder. I'm going to be honest. I think she did that on purpose for Daryl. I think she did that. I think she did that on purpose. She was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to shoot her in the shoulder. I'm not going to kill her outright. But the 2 guys, yeah, I felt like she was like, yeah, I'm
like Leah ain't that much of a threat.
No, I don't think is that. I think because at this point, Daryl realizes what she's about to do and he calls out her name. So I think he might have distracted her a little bit because I don't really think Maggie wanted to kill them. I think she did it because she knew she had to, and she did it for Elijah. But if she had her choice, I think that little part of her humanity was probably still in there saying, just let them go. But I think at that point, she knew if she killed them, she would turn a corner. And that's what she did. She killed them.
I think her plan has always been to kill them, personally, because you made me go on the run with my son. You put my son in danger. Her whole thought is her baby. Like, after all this, you put my kid in danger. We running and hide, and I mean, y'all showed no mercy. Y'all didn't care if they were children. Y'all didn't care if they were women. Y'all were killing, wiping out whole cities.
Right.
So to me, it's like, just like kind of when she told the story about when she found the man who had the pregnant girls. You know, kind of like that. I'm doing what I have to do for my son, and I know if I let y'all live, there's a chance that you either gonna come back. You're gonna be looking for me. She ain't gonna make the same mistake again. They did with Negan, letting them go, letting them live, sit in prison, whatever. You know, they're not doing it. She's not doing that again, because at this point now she have her baby to think about. Like, nah, I'm good. That's not gonna happen. You gotta die.
And I guess part of the, I can see your point, but I think too we're missing a part of the story, because again, they've already killed off Pope. And supposedly the conflict was really between her and Pope. Like, Pope was the one.
Did we ever find out what the reason was?
No.
So I didn't think so, and I didn't hear that anyway.
We didn't.
Anywhere.
So we don't know what that whole conflict was. We don't know why Pope was so obsessed with Maggie. But I think for Leah, she probably wanted Maggie dead because she feels like Pope's obsession with Maggie led to so many of her people dying. Not necessarily Maggie, Pope's obsession with Maggie. And again, we don't know why that obsession was there. In the same sense, the reason why I say I feel like Maggie maybe didn't want to kill them for a couple of reasons. One, Pope was the leader. So anything that they were doing under Pope's leadership. They were doing under Pope's orders. That includes whatever they did in Meridian. Now, some people, like Carver, probably got some enjoyment out of it. But the others may have been, hey, I'm just here to survive. You know, I'm just doing what it takes to survive. And if this is what my leader tells me we have to do to survive, then that's what I'm going to do. You always have people of those two minds in there. Just like with Alden and the Saviors. Alden, when we first met him, he was like, look, they found me. I needed a place to stay safe. And doing the stuff that he tells us to do, that keeps me safe.
Right.
So I think that she probably did have that thought, because this is still Maggie that we're talking about. This is still Herschel's daughter. So that kindness, that devil's advocate, that, okay, let me think this way. I think that part of her is still there. And she was trying to hold on to that. But once they gave them the option to leave, and Leah instead was like, okay, we're going to show y'all we got the upper hand. I think that's when Maggie was like, okay, you know what? Nope.
You got it.
Because even then they were going to walk away. And when Elijah was the one who said, for Josephine, for everyone, or for them all, that's when Maggie was like, nope, got to do it. Bang, bang, bang. So I think at that point she was really fighting. And then of course, when she does that, she turns over, she kind of walks back and she looks at Negan a little bit, because now in some ways, she's not doing anything different than what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? She's doing what she has to do to save her people, including killing. So I was like, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, we're getting Maggie's villain origin story, which again, I don't look at her as a villain. I look at her as somebody protecting her people. But if I look at her in that same way, I have to look at him in that same way. Yes, he was a little more sadistic about it. He was more cruel. But in his mind, he was trying to prove a point to this group that threatened his. Like, you can't come and kill my people and there not be consequences. So on the same hand with Gabriel is kind of sort of in the same way. Like, watching these season 11 episodes, I'm thinking about these characters in an all new light, you know, and it's always been that you can't really put them in categories of good or bad. I think that's one of the main themes of the show. you can't make things black and white like that with these characters, because they've been through so much, because they've had to deal with so much. There's always going to be that kind of tug and pull between their morality and their survival. Right. Because in this type of world, it's very rare that you're going to have both. Now, I will say this. The priest for Pope's people, I feel like maybe he was one of those rare people. Like, he was still holding on to his morality, but he was doing what he had to do if he had to defend himself. But even when he's confronted with Gabriel, that little exchange that was between them, because he was still so sure of his faith. Now, think about it again. This is a world that has been riddled with zombies for the last, at this point, 11 years, maybe. You know what I'm saying? 11, 12 years. This is a man who is still holding on to his faith. He still hears God, and he still allows that influence to guide him in whatever he does. Gabriel is there with a huge machete, and he actually sheathes his knife to show Gabriel, I'm not going to do anything to you. I want to help you. But Gabriel has to make a decision like, okay, so am I going to sit here and try to renew my faith, or am I going to go help my people? And at this point, Gabriel's like, you know what, Shank, I got to go help my people. And we've seen this kind of cruelty come, with him in the 10C episodes, when he and Aaron encountered, I can't remember the dude's name, in the warehouse.
Oh,
so
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But it was seeing Gabriel in the last few episodes, because he also killed another Reaper, just kind of out the blue. You know, the Reaper was asking him to pray for him or something, and he was like,
God's not here anymore.
God's not here anymore.
Lord.
So it's kind of like with Gabriel, it's one of those things too, because like I said, when we met Gabriel, he was this very cowardly, very shady, two-faced, backstabbing person. Yeah. You know, this priest who left his whole entire flock to die while he stayed ensconced in the church. We've seen his redemption, or we've seen, what could be his redemption, as far as him being a faithful person in Rick's flock, him doing what he needs to do to survive the people, him finding love, finding a purpose, becoming a leader of our group. But we still see that darkness in him. We saw that darkness in him when he killed Dante after what happened to Sadiq. We see it when he's dealing with the Reapers. That darkness is there. Mm-hmm. Does that mean Gabriel is an evil person? Not necessarily. Doesn't mean he's a good person. I mean, does his redemption mean he's a good person? Not necessarily. I don't think it's good or bad anymore. It's not black or white. They are all like in this gray area. And I think people need to start accepting that all of these characters have major flaws. All of these characters have been through some shit that's going to make them make decisions that you and I would not make in this present world, because we don't have to deal with the circumstances that they have to deal with there. Right. You know what? I'm not running around the corner trying to flee from somebody trying to kill me every 15 minutes. And then on top of that, having to flee from the walkers who are trying to eat me. We don't have to deal with that. So we don't have to make those decisions. And for people to get mad because of decisions being made, whether it's Negan, whether it's Maggie, whether it's whoever, it's not that simple anymore.
Right. And you notice now, even after Father Gabriel killed the Reaper priest, because I noticed it I didn't notice it until he really got back to Alexandria, but he no longer has his collar on. And then even when he was on the thing, he didn't say he said, you can call me Gabriel, not Father Gabriel. You can call me Gabriel.
I did notice
So
that.
he dropped. He.
But I didn't notice the collar.
It's gone. When you get to the end of the episode, gone. Because I looked and I was like, because it's unbuttoned. It's unbuttoned.
So I wonder if maybe he did that after he killed the priest. Like he was like, okay, you know what? It's because this is a person
while he's on the rooftop.
Because it's like, this is a person who maybe not shared the same faith, but you guys were both men of the cloth. This person was offering you his version of salvation. Let me help you listen. Let me help you hear him again. And again, like I said, I think the priest might have been actually sincere.
Yeah.
In what he was trying to do. And it is that conundrum with Gabriel, like, is this person really somebody that I can trust, somebody who is being genuine? And the problem is we will have no way of ever knowing that, because if Gabriel had
trusted too many people,
right,
they bit him in the ass. They trusted too many people. If you look along the way, they have trusted so many people and it backfired. Like, man of the cloth or not, I'm not taking your word.
Right. Because he could have done the same thing Gabriel did.
And then, because even Gabriel was like, oh, you can still hear him? Because remember, Gabriel in the beginning was saying God was talking to him. And so now it's like this man can hear him, but he was like, let me help you hear him again. And Gabriel been past that point where he wants to hear him again.
Right.
All the references leading up to this, God's not here no more. And just in the way that he's behaving and being, Gabriel is he's Gabriel, not Father Gabriel. He's just Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because he don't hear no more. He don't get the signs that he used to get. And for him, it's like he is trying to make sure that his family is safe. What he's created as his family with Rosita and Coco, he want to make sure they safe. So even if Father Reaper was being sincere, and I don't know his name, Father Reaper was being sincere, because even he was like, I saw you when you was at the graveyard or wherever,
he sensed them. Yeah.
Yeah. God spoke to me and told me I wouldn't be harmed.
Yeah. But here's the other thing too. I think also for Gabriel, if he had accepted Father Reaper, that's what we're gonna call him. If he had accepted his help, if he had gone back into that mindset of listening for God and hearing God and doing what he felt like God wanted him to do, I think he felt like he would not be able to be the man or the leader that he needs to be for Alexandria. Because if you're approaching all of this with compassion and with understanding, you're going to give people a lot of leeway that, like you said, they take advantage of. I mean, we've seen this because that's how Gabriel was when they first got to Alexandria. He was still trying to be the preacher. He was still trying to hold on to his faith. He was trying to help other people in Alexandria hold on to their faith. And what happened? The wolves came and the whisperers came, and they just had all of these things back to back. And he pretty much played just a peaceful part in it. And even though that worked for them at the time, because he didn't want to kill her, he couldn't fight, he actually, protected baby Judith while Rick and the rest of them, fought off the walkers when that horde came through the first time. I mean, he served his purpose doing that. But I think now, especially with the way things are, they're starving. They just got out of a war and their homes are demolished and they have to do a lot of rebuilding. They're going to have to make some hard decisions. He's not going to be able to make those hard decisions if you've got this voice whispering in your ear telling you what's good and what's not good, or what's moral, or what's ethical. Or I don't think that he would be able to be who he needs to be for them, or at least that's probably not what he's thinking. Like, if I start back listening to God again or going into this, I can't do what I need to do. And I think that was one of the things that made that decision for him, and for him to kill Father Reaper is kind of like, okay, this is me making a definite choice on what direction my life path is going to take.
Right.
So,
and
I mean, it's a good thing for us because he was able to do what he needed to do to give our team the upper hand again. And then, like I said, Maggie, she went vigilante and she gunned them down. She shot Leah and Leah got away. Daryl went to go find her, and I think he found her. He knew where she was, and he just told her, "This is not the way I wanted this to go. It could have been so different. All you had to do was walk away." And he was like, "Leave before I change my mind." I think at that point, whatever Daryl felt for her, done. And I think she knew it.
Gone.
Because she sat there and she was just like, I just fucked this up. Like, she could have killed Pope.
Get you to run away with me.
She could have killed Pope. She could have told her family. She could have told her family what Pope was doing. Pope was the one who was sending everybody out, getting them killed. And he didn't care at this point that he was sending people out to get killed. That's why I killed him. Now let's try to work together so all of us could survive. She could have done that and they could have avoided all of this. But again, I think she was pissed with Maggie because of Pope's obsession with her, not because of anything Maggie strictly did, because again, we don't know what happened between Maggie and Pope that caused that. But Pope's obsession with Maggie and with killing Maggie is what led to the demise of her family. Yeah. Not Maggie herself. Right. Pope did that. And I think Leah was probably pissed about that. Like, oh, it's because of you that he lost his focus. So now I need to kill you in order to avenge all of them, including, Pope in a sense.
Everybody, like at this point, to me, if we've been searching out this lady, burning through towns, killing people that come across our path, and we done killed who knows how many hundreds of people, and we still ain't found this bitch. Like, at what point do you say, you know what, cut our losses? But you're so vengeful and you're so determined to find her. You got the guy that blew himself up. That's one person you lost. Then when they chasing them through the mall, how many people you lose there? About 3 or 4. And then you killed your own guy by throwing him in the fire. It's all you losing so many people trying to get this one lady, but not realizing she got a whole army over here. I mean, they ain't a big army, but they got this whole army over here that's fucking up your people.
And but not only that,
even when Pope threw old boy in the fire and he was like, oh, it looked like he was running away. You don't care about the survival of your people. He shot in the back or some shit. Like, you don't care that your people are out here dying. Your main focus is this lady, and Pope wasn't concerned about his family at all. Because you keep sending them out to get killed. Y'all come back. Every time you come back, it's one less person. It's one less person. But you steady want to send crews out. Like, at some point, that's why it's on 10 of y'all around this fire. And you're trying to recruit Daryl ass.
Right. And here's the other thing, too. If she's this good at evading you, leave her the fuck alone. Just leave her alone.
You can't catch her.
Just leave her alone.
Because they didn't even make it to Alexandria or Hilltop or any of these other places where she made it to. Or even out in the woods where she was leaving notes for Carol. Like, y'all couldn't even find her till she came to where you were.
Right. Exactly. Like, you've already succeeded in taking her home. And I get what Leah said, we have to make sure the reason why they were out there going after them is because they needed to make sure that they don't come back. Y'all should have thought about that before you took over the place. But see, the problem is they're so used to taking over places and the people dying or, killing people, and whoever leaves, they can catch them and kill them. they weren't used to dealing with somebody like Maggie. So I think that presented a bit of a challenge too. And maybe that was just the whole thing. Maybe that's why Pope was obsessed, just because of the fact that, okay, we usually tie up all loose ends, but we aren't able to because this bitch and her group keep disappearing. That's probably what he was thinking, like, no, I can't be defeated. Because again, he was one of those, God is leading the way. God is telling us what to do. Well, obviously, God is also telling her to get the fuck away from y'all. So, I mean,
God is giving her great hiding places, this man.
So yeah, the moment that you see,
because you cannot find her.
And the moment that you see, you keep sending people out to find her, and less people are coming back to you alive. That would have been my cut my losses and go. Because if you started with a group of 40 and now you only got a group of 20 or a group of 15, obviously you're not doing something right. Just cut your losses and go. You already have the place. You already have all their food, all of their resources. I mean, they had an infirmary, they had a school. Maggie had a good thing going there. Y'all already took it. Leave it alone. Just leave your guards up to guard the place. And if anybody tries to come back and get it, then you go. Then you do something.
But
you went after her.
Since your people
right.
Sent your people after her and kept getting them killed. But you stayed behind the walls of Meridian. You're not going out there to find her. And then that's the thing. You ain't even saying bring her back alive. Y'all like kill her. Like, you don't even want the satisfaction. You just want to know she dead. Like, you don't want to do the work. You sending everybody and their mama out there.
And then you end up getting killed by one of your people because of your irresponsibility. See, again, that is still something I'm pissed off about, because I feel like y'all built this up. Y'all built up this whole Pope thing. And then y'all cut it short before we had any real resolution to it.
And then that's another thing, because once he found out Maggie was down in that crowd, he didn't even care that his people was down there. Didn't even care. So what was the point?
Like, literally say close the gate or launch the weapon.
With your people still down there. So you ain't give no fuck about them. Your family, so-called. You ain't give no fuck about them. Your vengeance was so laser focused, you missing the big picture. You done killed all your people. Because at the end, it was what, 4 of them, 5 of them?
4. Because it was Leah.
It was 5.
It was
Jensen, Leah.
Oh yeah, Carver, 5 and Carver.
And the 2 dudes.
Yep.
The 2 no-name dudes.
Yep.
So it's 5 of them at the end. Yeah, you only started out with 12.
But I tell you, it was so.
And now all them dead, Pope dead, and Maggie ass alive.
Right. And it was so satisfying to see Maggie plant that damn thing in Carver's chest. It was so satisfying. Now I'm gonna miss his fine ass, but that was so satisfying.
A mess.
I'm just saying. But ooh, one thing about this show, nobody likes it when Daryl is not speaking to them. Because Daryl is at this point pissed.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know if he's just pissed because she did what she did, or if he's pissed because he understood why she did what she did. And maybe he's just mad because of the necessity of it all. Because yeah, with a group like Leah's, you can't have let them just walk off into the sunset, because at some point they are going to try to come back after you. So that was yeah. So they couldn't leave that unfinished. No. And I think, and I have a feeling it might come back to bite them in the ass, because Leah is still alive. She is still out there. It'll be easier for her to get in anywhere because it's just her. Now, I really hope she didn't follow them to Alexandria, but she probably did. I don't think she's going to do anything because the Commonwealth is there now, and we'll get to that. But I mean,
she may end up in the Commonwealth.
I mean, she would make a good soldier, but I don't think I see her falling in with another group where she'll have to take orders.
Yeah, no.
I think she's had enough of that.
Don't go back to the house.
She might just be like, you know what? Fuck all of this. I'm just going back. But
Might be smart of her. Oh,
right.
and just FYI, Father Gabriel did not have the collar on when he killed Jensen.
Okay.
You don't have it on.
Okay.
That's why he said, just call me Gabriel, because the
So,
collar is on.
He was done. Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Probably after he killed the priest.
Yeah.
After he killed Father Reaper, he was done.
Yeah. That's what I figured. Like that was probably his. Okay, you know what? That's it. That was the last thing. That was the last little piece of me holding on to this old life. You kill a priest, now you're done. Especially if, as you know, Father Reaver said, especially if he was still hearing God, you just basically spit in God's face. Like, oh yeah, you had a connection to him, but I'm going to kill that connection. So yeah, he probably was like, done.
That's not going well.
We'll see. But needless to say, they get what they came for. They're able to take, get food and everything and take it back.
Where the
Maggie,
Where'd the horses come from?
They probably had, the horses were there because remember when I think the horses were probably in the stables there at Meridian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, where the hell did they get horses?
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. They had a cart too, so you have to have something to pull the cart.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think that's what it was. But so as they're getting ready the cart to go back to Meridian, Maggie has to take a side trip, and she tells them she's going to meet them. She goes back to the little church where they left Alden. And even though I knew it was coming, I think it was still sad.
Yes.
That Alden is gone.
She was sad about it.
And I don't know if he died from his injury or if it was that walk, because there was a walker in there with him. And I don't know where that walker came from. I've only seen up to that part of the episode once. I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it. I'm actually rewatching it in the background, but I couldn't tell if maybe that was one of the Reapers that was just kind of solo and happened to get in there, or if that may have been a walker that was in the church and they just didn't know it at the time that they left Alden in there. But of course, Alden was hurt. So even if it was, he probably wasn't able to defend himself, or maybe he just died from his injuries.
I think he just died though, because he wasn't he didn't look bitten or eaten, like the walker got him. So it looked like he may have just died. And the other walker probably just got in there because of the noise. They followed the noise.
But that's the first time we've seen Maggie kind of lose it emotionally in a long time. So I think that one hit her hard. And again, Alden's story, he started out as a savior.
He did.
He was one of the people that Maggie took hostage, and she was planning to kill him at that time. And he kind of talked her out of it. He was like, look, just because we're with them, we don't all think like them. We don't all act like them. Some of us are there just for necessity because we wanted to survive.
Right.
And he ended up becoming a very loyal person on our team. He ended up becoming a great friend to Maggie. Mm-hmm. And for him to end that way, I think it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she goes out
I think we all kind of knew that was coming though.
Oh, yeah.
When they left him, I said it when they left him. Oh, he gonna be dead when they come back.
I think we all said it. Yep. Yeah. But she takes him outside and she buries him, and Negan shows up by himself. And let me tell you, that shot that they had of the pipe and just kind of his leg, I was like, is she about to regret leaving him alive? Because I really thought he was there gonna try to attack her. But at the same time, if you look at the way that he's treated her over the last few episodes, I don't think he wants that confrontation. I think he just
I
basically is like, look, you are basically becoming what I became. And he's just there. He was just along for the ride, not necessarily saying aha, but it was kind of like, this is what happens. This is how you get from who you were to who you are now. He's been in that transformation before. He's been down that path.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time, that's the reason why he decided, so I know that you said that you wasn't going to kill me if I helped, but I don't want to I don't want to be looking over my shoulder the rest of my life. So I'm a bounce.
I'm out.
Because again, he sees himself in her. He sees where he started and how he progressed to become who he ended up becoming.
And not even that, he don't want to be around her, have his guard down, right, and get killed.
Because here's the thing, you created that monster. He was the one that created that monster. And I think that's the thing that he realizes. He's like, I see where this is going to end up. And if I stay, you are going to become me. And I think he saw that. He was like, you know what? No, let's not do this. I'm going to go ahead and go my way. And then that way you can figure out your things on your own and whatever. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Negan is about self-preservation. Period. Of course.
Yes.
And he is not about to go back to Alexandria because they know, number one, what he did, it will never be erased. The only one who is upset that he is going is who? Lydia. Because she's like, what the fuck is Negan?
Yeah. And I did feel sad for her because Negan is because of the way he came into the group and his I can't even say it, but and his isolation. Right. Yes, I can't get it out. I'm not going to try to. But he was the first one and probably the only one for a long time, aside from Henry, who treated her like a real person, who understood that even after Alpha died, that she was glad Alpha was gone, but at the same time, she mourned Alpha because when all is said and done, that was still her mother.
Right.
And Negan never made her feel bad for that, I don't think. And so I did feel sorry for her that he wasn't there for her, but I think she'll be okay. When she has to save Aaron, and we'll talk about the Alexandria stuff, but when she saves Aaron and he thanks her and she says, you would have done the same for me, he stops and he looks at her and he was like, yeah, I would have. I think for a lot of them, this is, again, this is really fresh off the Whisperer War. Yeah. When all of this is happening, it can't have been but a few weeks. So all of that is still raw for them. So I think that they are looking at her and just kind of slowly saying, okay, yeah, you know what? She is one of us. Because she was sitting there fighting the walkers just like Rosita was, just like Diane was. She was trying to protect everybody else in that house, And I think at some point they have to realize that.
But that's what everybody though. Everybody has done something. Tara, prime example. She was the first one.
Right.
Tara was our first redemption. You know what I mean? She attacked the prison with the governor. But look at what she turned into. So it's like every excuse me. Every little group has that one defect where I want to be on the other side, where this is not necessarily where because even with some of the Whisperers, once they saw how Hilltop had a whole community and people had beds and people had this and people had that, they started talking amongst themselves like, we don't have to be out here eating berries and such. We can sleep in a bed. We can have water and be clean. We can be clean
and not walk around with these nasty ass masks on our face.
That part.
Yeah.
But then as those things start spreading through her group of people, her horde, what she do? She killed them people off. Like, no, we won't have that ideology over here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gonna be a grunt and in the dirt and in living in the woods and dirty clothes and not take no bath.
Right.
You know, so it's always somebody in the group who sees the flaw in their leader, like, because that was Alden, Tara with the governor, Lydia with the whispers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always somebody in each little group offshoot that says, I don't think I want to do this.
Hey, this ain't what I signed up for.
Except for the termites, because they all wanted to eat motherfuckers.
She said the termites. Oh my goodness.
Just like,
but I don't even think they wanted to do that. Again, they did that as a response to what other people did to them.
Mm-hmm. But not to eat their ass.
Well, I mean, think about it. The people that ended up doing that to them, that's what they did. You know, they started that little thing and they were killing people and raping people and doing that. And like they said, you know, even Gareth said it. Do you think this is what we wanted to become? This is not what we wanted to do. But as food gets scarce and you have more and more people to feed, unfortunately, we see that in stories all the time. When you are with people and you are trapped and there's no other food source and you're going days, weeks, after a while, that animalistic nature is going to take over because it's a fight to survive or die. Mm-hmm. So even with them, if you look at that, they were just doing what they needed to do to survive. It was horrendous, yes, but who's to say if something happened like that to us and we're sitting here for weeks on end, no food in sight, no other food source. You know, your best friend might start looking a little tasty after a while.
So what? Ain't it a movie called what? Alive? What, about the plane crash where they crashed on the mountain and they start eating they homies?
They have to do it, like, you know.
He died. I mean, well, eat that meat.
I mean, you start with the animals, and then once the animals are gone, you really don't have too much choice. You know, sticks and berries are only going to hold you for so long. So,
butt cheeks.
But yeah, so it's like everybody has their story as far as how they got to be the person that they are.
Yeah. And
sometimes it's a good story, but most times, especially in a zombie apocalypse, it's not going to be a pretty story.
At all.
Yeah. So we just have to look at those stories individually and like just really start thinking about, okay, humanity in that kind of world and in those kind of circumstances, would you do anything less? Like, honestly, and we're going to keep going back to the Negan thing because Negan is the one that people seem to complain about the most because he's been around the longest, right, as far as an antagonist. And again, he did what he did. You know, he killed people that were extremely close to us as far as viewers and as far as our group. Mm-hmm. But if we had been in that position, if Rick had been in that position, if those were Rick's people in the lighthouse and someone else came in and just killed them because what they want to get an upper hand on the goods in another neighborhood, and that's really what it was. It wasn't fully because the saviors were threatening, because yeah, they were threatening, but they were threatening that group. They weren't threatening y'all. Y'all weren't even on the radar at this point. And probably would not have been on the radar because they were at least 20 miles away from where Negan's place was centrally. They could have gone maybe another 6 months without ever being on Negan's radar. So
that's what happens when you get in other people's business. That right there. Mind your business.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
I know.
You won't have motherfuckers coming to you trying to beat your kids. What about?
I know. But you know what? Our lane didn't have look, our lane didn't have food. Our lane didn't have medicine. Our lane didn't have a OBGYN. So You do what you got to do to survive.
I'm just saying.
Let's move on over to Alexandria because, you know, again, Leah is the only thing left in the Reapers, and I know we haven't seen the last of her, but at this point, she's not much of a threat, except for the fact that she's really, really pissed.
She ain't gonna be do much till she finds somebody to dig that bullet out her shoulder.
I know. The people in Alexandria can't catch a motherfucking break. It's bad enough the walls are down. It's bad enough they have no food because the Whisperer horde tore through the neighborhood, trampled all of the gardens. The Whisperers destroyed all the food. Most of the houses look uninhabitable. Now they got to deal with another fucking storm. And they were dealing with this storm in the last, right before the break. So we pick up there as well. The walkers have gotten into the house. Judith and Gracie have gotten separated from the rest of the group, and they're down in the basement.
2 more kids that need a whooping. I'm just saying. Had you did what you were supposed to do and followed the group, your ass would have been upstairs. Now y'all want to be super babies and help fight. No, carry your ass upstairs.
I know.
And who gets scared and going to the basement? The basement is supposed to be the scariest place. Why would you hide in the basement? All kids are scared of the basement. Except these 2 bad motherfuckers. You want to go in there with no way out and a broken window flooding.
Well, see, that's the thing. They didn't realize the window was broken and it was flooding when they got down there. But once they got down there, they really didn't have much choice because they couldn't get back up. And let me tell you, that was one of the sequences that I watched like this with my hands over my eyes because I was like, not the babies. Of course.
I knew wasn't nothing gonna happen to them.
I knew, but still, that was scary. Like, I don't want to be in the basement with them walkers. And then when Aaron comes in all gargantuan with his girl, let me tell you.
How he fit through that window is my first question. My second question is, I got the scene, but it was just so when Lydia came to help him, and first he was on the pole.
Girl, let me tell you.
And I said,
that pipe scene, he was holding on for dear life. Did you not see all the walkers in the water? I would have been holding on for dear life too. I would have stayed there.
I said how the pipe didn't fall.
Oh, well, part of it did.
But the part with the lightest part of his body, your legs is lighter than your whole upper torso. And then when Lydia was like, oh, let me save you. What? Who tied the string to something else in the house? Because it was a string tied that he climbed out on. So I'm assuming because she looks at him, she says, hold on, I'll be right back. And then he makes that, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm assuming she went and got a string from somewhere because she couldn't go back into the main house because they're fighting walkers there. So there was another house next door. So she probably went there, tied the string. But this is the thing. What was it tied to in the basement?
See, that's the thing I want to know. Like, how did she get it to him? Or did she just get it to the top part of the pipe and he still had to crawl his way there to get to? But they don't show us that. And they didn't show it to us on purpose.
String was not, Lydia wasn't holding that goddamn string.
No, it was tied to a pole and it was a rope. So it would have been strong enough. But again, they didn't show us that because that would have been like, how y'all, yeah. They know that's some bullshit.
I looked at that. I said, I'm gonna go with it because it's on the show, but that is not how.
I'm gonna go with it because they're saving Aaron. Because if Aaron would have died, I would have been pissed. Because Aaron is one of my.
We'll give you the saving of Aaron, but
yes, but yeah, y'all could have showed us how y'all did that.
They could,
because I have questions.
They could. There's no way to show that.
Yeah. So,
because it got to be tied to something in the basement. Number one, Aaron only got one hand. Why the fuck you kind of not?
I don't know.
Number two, his walkers in the water. What?
He was probably holding on like this and beating down like this, and then got a space cleared enough in the water. He probably jumped in the water and then I don't know. Because you're right. How's he gonna climb that rope? How's he gonna climb that rope? Like, I understand Aaron might be strong, his right hand might be a little bit stronger, but one, you're carrying your whole body weight. Two, you're carrying your wet body weight. Three, it's a whole bunch of fucking walkers in the goddamn water.
And half the pipe gone. And you just holding your feet up with your upper body strength.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. That one was a little bit
unbelievable.
Unrealistic. Yeah. Yeah.
Super unbelievable. Because I was like,
we'll allow it because they don't do unbelievable stuff very often. And I'm saying this about a zombie apocalypse show. They don't do unrealistic stuff very often. Like, some of the stuff that they do, you can actually explain it in a way that makes sense. But that scene, no, I don't know.
I'm gonna just take your word for it that it miraculously happened because
right.
Yeah,
right.
It's one of the smallest, littlest, like that big of a flaw. But I'm glad Aaron saved the babies, and I'm glad Aaron survived.
Aaron saved the babies. He saved them. And apparently they survived, and apparently they got rid of all the walkers, because the next time we see them is when, Daryl and them are coming back. And
the best thing about the whole
wait, we'll talk about that. Wait. Because I'm still trying to figure out, like, the rain is gone. And y'all are just standing there like there was supposedly.
They got the wall back up.
Second unbelievable thing, because there was more than one breach. Two, that was a lot of walkers. Now, granted, it might not have been as many as we thought, but they came from somewhere, because we know that major herd all went over the cliff with right. alphas. So right. maybe it just wasn't as many walkers as we thought it was. But I mean, once the storm was over and they're all able to focus, they probably were able to kill them all. But it's kind of like,
because it was 17 million in the goddamn house.
But most
at no point did the walkers stop.
But most of them are in the basement now. They're probably stuck in the basement with the water.
They left the stairs to go. They left going up the stairs to go down the stairs to go.
No, remember the stairs collapsed. That's
where Rosita and Lydia were.
Oh,
to get them from going upstairs.
Oh, they probably killed all of those, because think about it. They are good walker killers on a bad day. So if you're sitting there and you're killing the walkers, and the dead walkers are creating a barrier that the other walkers can't get to, that kind of makes it easier to kill the rest of the walkers.
But and I was looking for that, but I didn't see that. As they were killing them, it would make it wasn't making no pile. Go back and look, because that was my thought too. Like, at what point are y'all gonna have killed enough for them to?
It probably did. That probably happened off screen too, just like Aaron coming out the basement happened off screen. And then, of course, they can look. You can't really do shit in that house anymore because you got all the dead walkers down there. So they probably all climbed out the window, just like Lydia did, except for one person that I noticed was missing at the end of the episode when everybody was gathered to hear what the Commonwealth had to say. Virgil was missing. So I'm like, did y'all leave Virgil in the house to be like, yeah, we know you hurt, so we're going to clear out the walkers and help you out later, but we got to figure out what this, who these stormtroopers are coming into the neighborhood. But yeah, I noticed, I was like, Virgil's not there.
Oh shit, I missed that.
Yeah, he wasn't there. So I was like, yeah, he must be in the house. He must be recuperating. Like, they probably used that rope to tie around him and lower him out the window so they could take him somewhere else. That's probably what they did. 'Cause other than that, the only thing I can think of is that they left him in the house like, yo, we'll come back for you when all this is sorted out.
But do we see him at the Commonwealth? I haven't seen that yet.
I don't know. We've only seen little glimpses of the Commonwealth. But yes, before we get to all that, let's talk about the reunion, because Daryl and company, and they come back. And of course, everybody is kind of sad because they're like, that's it. Like, it's literally Daryl, Elijah, Maggie. Daryl, Elijah. That was it, right?
Gabriel.
And Gabriel. That was it.
4 people.
So it was like 15 of them left out, and only 4 came back. Yeah. And technically only 5 are alive because Negan just chose not to come back. Right. Well, okay, let's talk about
he dropped that and ran to his boo.
He dropped that basket like,
everybody get an apple. Everybody, it's in my bag. Dropped everything for her.
Dropped the whole basket.
Baby, don't give a
and got the hug. I was like, okay, I'm good now. I'm good. Because he was like, no way. I love his reaction, because as much as I ship them together, I still like their friendship too. So the fact that he reacted to her coming back in that way, it wasn't like, it wasn't anything unexpected from him. Because if he would have gone into this whole romantic whatever, I would have been like, nah, that's not right. Because even with Leah, who he was with for a couple of years, he was never that, like, he had the air of somebody who cared about her, but it wasn't anything overly out of character. So when he turned and saw her, and even with her, she was just like, hey, I'm here. And he drops the apples and he just like, no way. I really missed you. I'm so happy to see you. I was like, I'm here for this. And then the look on Carol's face when she saw his reaction to her, it was one of those, like, of course, the fandom is divided because you have your people who just swear Daryl and Carol are supposed to be together up and down. And you have your people who swear Daryl and Connie are supposed to be together up and down. So that's like, when I tell you, I have seen some of the ugliest stuff on Twitter in the last week since the episode aired. The ugliest, even before that.
I don't be on Twitter like that, thank goodness.
Girl, oh my God, it's horrible. But I felt sad, and I also felt relieved for Carol, because Carol looked like she was happy that they finally got a chance to reunite. But also, if you remember, that was the source of part of her misery, because she was the reason that Connie was missing in the first place.
Right.
And the reason why Daryl's wasn't speaking to her at this point.
Yeah, I don't think her look was a jealous look. I think it was
no, absolutely
like
not
a relief look.
Because she's been one of the ones encouraging him. Like, even when they had that conversation before Connie was missing, and she mentioned something about Connie, and she was like, so was that there? He was like, oh, that's not nothing. She was like, well, why not? And people are like, she's saying that because she's fishing. She wants him to say it's because of her. I'm like, I never have gotten that vibe with them. Like, they really give off a best friend, platonic only vibe. Like, yeah, they care about each other, they love each other, but I've never looked at them in a romantic light. And it seems really, to me, it seems really weird and incestuous to think of them that way,
Yeah.
But I know there are other people. I mean, I'm just saying, but the other part of that is seeing Judith and RJ run up to him, Uncle Daryl. But no, did you see when Daryl was giving them the apples and he told them just take one? Did you see RJ's face? Like, man, we starving and all I got is this one apple, and it's an apple. Like, y'all couldn't bring back.
Fuck, I'm gonna do with one apple.
Right. The other interesting reunion was Gabriel and Rosita. Because Rosita was already pissed because she didn't want him to go on that mission in the first place.
Right.
And there was a little bit of tension there.
I didn't see that.
I did. Really? I felt like it. I thought
it was more like a relief, like you back, like you made it back. I didn't pick up tension.
I don't know, because I'm sorry, if somebody that I loved had been gone for, at this point, it could have been weeks.
Yeah.
Trying to go get this food. You leave with a group of 15. You come back with only 4 people. You are hurt. Obviously, some shit went down.
Yeah.
I would have been hugging him, kissing him, like, so glad he's back. And when he rubbed her face, she was just kind of like, it's almost like she was kind of like, I'm still mad. Don't touch me. And then she said, is that food? And he was like, we made a promise and we kept it. She was like, yep, you did. But he also made a promise to her about never leaving her, about staying there to protect their family. And he broke it to go do that.
But he, in a way, he did protect the family.
I know.
Yeah, look at the big picture.
I know.
Rosita.
I know, but I mean, you got to look at it from Rosita's standpoint too. Like, Rosita is there with Coco. She's trying to help defend the neighborhood, and she's already lost enough.
Yeah.
So I can understand. I think she's a little bit perturbed, but he kind of looks at her when she walks off, and it's almost like he was thinking, okay, so in trying to do the right thing for my family, my community, did I lose my family? That's how I felt. It felt that way to me. Like there's a little bit of a wall there now. Maybe I'm overthinking things, but that's what it felt like to me. And then when Jerry
smiling said, as he limping to her.
But look at her face. Look at her body language. She a little perturbed.
Yeah.
She a little perturbed.
Okay, yeah, because she walked off from him.
Mm-hmm.
He said we made a promise and I kept it. And she said, yes, you did, and walked the fuck away.
And walked off. Now that could have also been yeah, I love you, but food. It could have been that too. But yeah, it just felt very strained to me. And I hope that in trying to do what he needed to do and in sacrificing what he did sacrifice on the road, that he didn't lose his family, because that would suck. Yeah. That would suck. Yeah. But then
we'll find out, won't we?
I know. But then Jerry is at the watchtower and he's like, something's coming. And everybody's getting ready to, raise arms. Gabriel is like, oh my God, can we just get a fucking break? Like, and the crazy thing is, he's not even facing the camera. And we know that's what went through his mind. Like, can we get a fucking break?
One of them.
Like, we just got home. Can we have 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes.
Maybe 5 minutes.
But lo and behold, it's the Commonwealth soldiers, and they're coming up, and then Eugene comes from the back. He was like, hey, we're all friends. Eugene, your ass should have been on the first horse. You know what your community is like when it comes to
know what they've been through. Why?
Dude, you should have been on the first horse.
They was about to light their ass up. They might have got a couple of them. They might not have got them all, but they was about to fuck them up.
Right.
Like, you gonna have to fight for this one. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. So then Eugene, he does this little speech where he talks about, Yumiko, Ezekiel, and I, we went out to try to find help, and this is what we found, and I'm going to let the man of the hour speak. And it's so funny. You have Lance come in, and he's in his suit.
With his suit.
And everybody is looking at him like, this is a vestige of the old world. What the fuck is this? Because they're all tired. They're hungry. They're battle worn. Like the ones who weren't fighting the Reapers were fighting a storm and walkers. They just lost the windmill. They just lost most of their homes. They've lost all their food. They're just like, what the fuck is this? And here it is.
Who the fuck is this?
Lance is like, we are willing to help you, you know, if you decide to stay here, but it does look like you guys are going to need a lot of help because, again, the neighborhood has been destroyed. And he says, we have an offer for you. Then we get a time jump. 6 months later, Maggie is back at the hilltop trying to rebuild. Commonwealth soldiers are at the gates. And she says, it doesn't have to be this way. And a Commonwealth soldier takes off their helmet and it's Daryl. And he says, yes, it does. What the ever fuck? Now, here's the thing. I've seen the promo images for 11B, and I've seen Daryl in the Stormtrooper costume. That shit is weird as fuck. It's so weird seeing him in that.
When he took it off, I was like, look, I was watching it in bed, and my wife was still asleep. I said, what the fuck?
Did you wake her up?
I'm fucking dead. Dead. What the fuck? Because the whole episode, I was like, the whole episode, I was talking to the TV, I was cheering, I was shocked, I went through every emotion you could have in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I was sad when Alden died. I was happy. I was weirded out when the Commonwealth came, and then when Daryl pulled that goddamn hood off, what the? Okay, where is next week's episode? Where is
so
it?
Weird.
It's weird.
It's so weird.
It's weird. And it's weird because of the relationship that Maggie and Daryl have. That there would be some tension or some you have to do whatever. It's I'm sure whatever Daryl's intentions are, they are to help Maggie. She may not see it, but Daryl ain't gonna do nothing that's gonna, because whether we want to say he's over it or not, he still blames himself for Glenn's death. Period.
Yeah. That.
He's not going to do anything to harm Maggie or hurt her or Herschel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that in getting her to go to Commonwealth, she may not see it or may not like it, but it's probably to help her. You know what I mean?
Well, I know that there's a part in the trailer that posted right before the season, the second part of the season started, where Maggie is asking, why do you trust them? And I kind of feel like if you think about what Daryl said earlier in this episode when he was talking to Leah, and he says, we're doing it wrong. We survived all of this to keep killing each other. I think Daryl's tired of living that way. And the Commonwealth offers something different for them instead of always fighting, always wondering about what new threat is coming around the corner, wondering if they're going to be able to keep up the walls and be safe and secure. He has Judith and RJ to think about.
Right.
And I think he probably realizes that if Rick was still there, if Michonne was still there, Michonne would want them in a place that is safe, that is secure, that they don't have to worry about it.
That's true.
And you have the lure of a community. Yeah, you have the lure of a community 50,000 people strong with an established military presence, with walls, with society, the way things were before. And I think maybe Daryl goes there to see what it's like, and then he drinks the Kool-Aid, or he feels like, okay, this is the safest thing for the kids, whatever. Now, for whatever reason, Maggie has decided not to go, or maybe Maggie went and decided it wasn't for her and came back. Again, we don't know everything that Maggie went through while she was gone. We don't know if she's ever encountered another community in that way that maybe the Commonwealth make her feel a little sketchy. Maybe she's like, I don't know if I trust them. I think I'll just, stay out on my own with people that I trust in an area that I trust. Maybe that's what's going on. But I know that the next episode is going to be hella interesting, especially if we go by the images that we've seen in the trailer. Like, we know there's going to be a big party. We've seen like Magna in a waitress outfit, because apparently she used to be a waitress.
How's she to help? How's she to help?
Well, I guess, they're taking them in. They all have a part to play. I mean, think about it. Yumiko has to represent the mayor and all these other people in order for them to even give the Alexandrians assistance. So maybe they're having to earn off with the, kind of like the hospital. Like, okay, you take, but you got to earn what you take.
I mean, I get it. Who else had that point system? Who else was it?
The hospital.
Negan?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that Negan?
Yeah.
It was the hospital.
Yeah, it was the hospital. But I mean, they all have that. I mean, think about it. Our society is not too much different. It's just that we get paid wages, but we have to go work to earn those wages. So it's kind of similar.
But we're free to leave if we want to. We ain't got to sit.
All right, so we are going to audio only for Casey, because her screen keeps freezing up, but we're almost towards the end of the episode anyway. But Daryl, and going back to the Commonwealth and Daryl and Gabriel have an interesting conversation after all of this stuff happens. And Gabe tells Daryl, he says, we're doing it wrong. I heard what you said. And Daryl says, I'm just thinking about choices. I mean, do they even matter anymore? And then right. Gabriel says, depends on who's making the choice. And I think maybe that's one of those things that makes Daryl decide to go to the Commonwealth. Like, okay, we have a choice. We can either continue to stay here, struggle, and be dependent on other people for our survival, or we can go be dependent on other people for our survival, but we can do it safe. The kids can be safe. They can, I just think that he's really at this point making the choice for the kids. And then, like I said, maybe it gets to the point where once he's been there, again, the time jump was 6 months. He's like, okay, you know what? I like living this way where I don't have to be looking over my shoulder or wondering who's coming over the walls or who's trying to sneak into the neighborhood in the dead of night to kill us and take what we have. I think he's just tired of all of that. You had it with the governor, you had it with the Whisperers not wanting them to live, you had it with the Saviors, you had it with, so many different groups that they've had to fight to keep what they have. The wolves came in. I just think
like they can never catch a break, though.
Yeah.
Like every time they think that, it's going good for them, or, I think the only time they did have a break where, because remember, they have the time jump. That's the only time, because nothing happened in that period.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I mean? Which is why we got a time jump.
Yeah, it did. The whole Jocelyn thing happened in that time jump.
It did.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And remember, during that time jump is when Michonne secluded Alexandria away from all of the other communities because of what happened with Jocelyn.
Damn it.
Okay. So yeah, they haven't had a break.
They keep going through shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're right. I thought they had one little. Nope, they ain't had no break. You're right. They haven't had no break.
Nope.
At what point is Judith gonna tell Daryl or somebody? Wasn't we just talking about this?
Yeah.
What she gonna tell somebody that her mama wants to go look for her dad?
I don't think she's gonna tell Daryl because I think she knows if Daryl knows, Daryl will go try to find Michonne and go try to help.
Why Virgil ain't say nothing then? He don't know that.
That's true.
Or even Connie, for that matter.
I don't know if Connie would know that Michelle, because when
Connie was, oh no, they wasn't there for that.
Because
They
when
came up after.
yeah, and when she said something about Michonne, or he said something about Michonne, he said she went to go help some people. I think he said the same thing. So, because remember when Michonne left Virgil, she was helping the people he had kept captive. She was helping them get somewhere. I guess they were going to some other place that they had been before. They just wanted to get away from Virgil because of what he had done. But she was helping them, and then she happened to fall in with the other people after she helped them. So, yeah, I don't think Judith is going to tell Daryl, because she probably feels like Daryl will go out and try to help, especially considering he was helping Michonne look for Rick while she was pregnant with RJ. And then even after she went back home to stay, he stayed out and continued to look for Rick for another few years.
Right.
So yeah, she ain't gonna tell him. She ain't gonna tell him. Not now anyway. I don't think. She may tell him once. I don't know. Maybe once she gets comfortable in the Commonwealth, she may mention it, because she might feel safer there, even if he does go. But I don't think Daryl would leave them at this point, because at this point they don't have Rick, they don't have Michonne. He's the closest thing to them as far as family, aside from Carol. And you have to remember, Carol was gone for 6 years, so she doesn't even have that kind of bond with Carol that she would have with Daryl or with Rosita.
True.
So yeah, I don't think she's going to tell. I don't think so. But yeah, I know. So we can get Rick back. Damn it!
I swear to God.
But we're not gonna go into that conversation. I was listening to us talk about when I was editing our World Beyond finale episode, and we were talking about the Rick movies and when we might see Rick, or how we might see Rick. And you kept saying 2024, and I was like, no. So yes, we're not gonna talk about Rick again. We just know we miss him.
I think we in line for 2024.
I'm not listening to you. I'm not. But to sum up this episode, it came back with a bang. I enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed everything we got to see, the conflicts, the reunions. I'm glad our people are back together now. And now I'm ready to see what's going to happen in the Commonwealth. And I have to say, I'm a little nervous about it, because that changes the whole dynamic for our group. I mean, they found community before with Alexandria, but Alexandria is nothing like the Commonwealth. Alexandria was probably less than 50 people. Right. You're talking about 50,000 people.
And trying to maintain an identity with all them damn people.
It's going to be...
Trying to maintain who you were, trying to maintain, period.
Right.
In that lifestyle, and trying to adapt. And the weirdest thing is going to be trying to see Daryl ass adapt to that shit.
Yeah.
But he adapts some kind of way, because the motherfucker's in a goddamn stormtrooper outfit. So
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You caught up on Fear the Walking Dead yet?
Huh? I'm glad you can't see my face. I'm going. You know what? And especially since I moved my office around, I'm finna buy me a TV for down here. That'd be the problem. I don't have a TV, and I only watch it upstairs. And then half the time I'm in my office. So once I have my office TV, which I hope to get within the next week or so,
girl,
I got time, because ain't it like March 17th or something like that?
Actually, Fear the Walking Dead doesn't come back until April.
Oh,
yeah. They come back in April, because they're not going to have both shows air at the same time. So it's going to be after this one is done with the second part of the season. So we're getting 8 episodes with this part. So yeah, I believe it's like April, maybe Easter weekend.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So I think that's when it is. So you still have some time to get caught up. And then we're going back to Nick and Norman's on March 6th we're going.
Yes.
Because they're about to finish filming the final episodes. And the walls of Alexandria are coming down. They are turning that subdivision back into a full-time residential area. There will be the houses will still be there because the production company built actual houses for the sets so that they could have those houses to sell after everything is done. So, yeah, the walls are coming down in Alexandria. So we're going to go one last time before that happens. And then I will be going to the Fandemic Dead Tour, which is a Walking Dead based convention that's held here in Atlanta. I've never been to a Walking Dead based convention before, so I'm really, really excited. They have an amazing guest list. Like every fucking body is coming to this thing, including a few people who are not on The Walking Dead, like Stephen Amell is going to be there. Sebastian Stan is going to be there.
I'd go just for that.
Oh, you know that really made my mind up, but his photo ops and his autographs are so expensive I can't afford it, but I just want to go look at his pretty face in person. So he's going to be there. Dean Cain is going to be there. John Barrowman, I think, is supposed to be there. So it's going to be a really good guest list. Norman will be there. Jeffrey Dean Morgan will be there. Let's see. I'm just going to
who ain't going to be there?
Who?
You know who ain't going to be there? Denai's fast.
Denai's not going to be there. No, Rick's not going to be there. But Chandler will be there. Sarah Wayne Callies, Lori will be there. Jerry, Carol, Merle, the governor. Let's see. Judith will be there. Aaron will be there. Gabriel will be there. So they've got a huge guest list. So I'm really excited about going to that. So I will be talking about that and, taking some video and just, hopefully meeting some people. And, we'll talk about that. Hopefully Casey will find a way to come with her busy schedule. We can get her there for a day or so and we can talk about Walking Dead stuff while seeing all the Walking Dead stuff. That would be cool. But we are glad to be back to discuss The Walking Dead. We hope you guys are enjoying our commentary and will join us for the rest of the season. But for now, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can view our videos on YouTube and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.